Hi, I'm Danelle Deaton. Here is my ID to verify that I am who I say I am. I am going to talk to you about my capstone. This is my reflection assignment, and let's dig in. So the agenda on this assignment, we're going to talk about my introduction of my assignment. I'll tell you what I did, the analysis, the evaluation, and the conclusion. So my assignment that I chose, my capstone that I chose was to create a different experience in the labor and delivery rooms for our patients, their families, and to educate the nurses on how and why this is beneficial. So overall, what my project does is I spend a lot of time in research learning about the hormones of labor, how they are externally affected, and what we can do as labor nurses to encourage those hormones to function properly. I work in a critical access hospital, so it's really tiny. It's less than 20 beds in the whole hospital. We have 2 labor and delivery rooms. We don't see a lot of labor and delivery because we are so small, and so we don't have probably the experience that many would have in a larger facility. Overall, we probably have 100 to 150 births a year, and so since it's something we don't do every day, all the time, it's really hard to stay up on top of everything. So for this assignment, education was really important to me, and creating a change in our environment with labor and delivery. I feel like a lot of women come into the hospital and don't have the opportunity to feel safe enough to speak up about what they do and don't like and what they're comfortable with, what they're not comfortable with. A lot of women are coming without a birth plan to labor and delivery. Where I'm at, because it's so rural, there are a lot of women that are actually choosing not to come to the hospital at all and are birthing at home with midwives, some of which are really inexperienced, and they end up in the ER with a lot of problems. And I'm hoping to change the culture in our hospital to bridge together the at-home experience and the hospital experience, because we do have so many choices as patients in the labor and delivery unit that maybe you aren't led to believe are a choice for you, and that's very frustrating for me. And being in the hospital on its own is very stressful to these young patients who aren't typically accustomed to being in the hospital. They're not sick, and so it raises levels and changes their hormone levels in a way that can lead to a C-section. And right now, our C-section rates are almost at an all-time high in our first-time low-risk moms. And so part of that has to do with, I believe, that we aren't creating a supportive environment in the labor and delivery rooms. Moms are stressed out. Their bodies don't get to progress as they should. So my goal in my project is to change the environment as best we can. Obviously, we still need to have our equipment in there and things like that. But I'm hoping that if we can change to an environment that's more relaxing, a little more zen, we can encourage the body extrinsically to be affected by what's going on around. Internally affecting our hormones. So external environment change, internal environment change. Oxytocin is your body's natural, tells your body to contract. It's in your body. We use it as Pitocin if your oxytocin levels aren't really helping you on your own. We speed up labor by giving you Pitocin, which is synthetic oxytocin. But studies have shown that if you create an environment that is dim, peaceful, calming, that the oxytocin works more effectively. When we have all the lights on and lots of beeping and we're talking really loud as nurses, it increases the stress hormone in the body. the cortisol, which does not allow oxytocin to do its job, and it delays labor, causes stalling, causes baby to not come down because mom is tight and tense, and then we end up in a C-section when before all 9 months she was doing really well, her body was doing what it was supposed to be doing, and now all of a sudden we're not completing, we're not getting to past the finish line. So what I have chosen to do with my project is get a whole bunch of flameless candles that we will have in the rooms. We are going to use, I work for Intermountain Healthcare, we are going to use Intermountain Healthcare approved essential oils for the moms to help them be calm. We are encouraging them to play some music. I'm also working on getting it approved that we can get some speakers so that the moms can connect their phone to a speaker and play some relaxing, calming music. And I'm hoping that by doing this, we will see a decrease in our C-sections and birth trauma. And it is known that if you decrease the cortisol levels in the body, your labor is shorter. And we definitely don't want to be in labor longer than we need to be. So this is why I chose this project. I'm very passionate about it. I work in labor and delivery. I also work med-surg. We're not departmentalized. And I just love it, and I want to make positive changes to make this a good experience and memory for our moms. I chose my manager as my preceptor, my mentor. She has been working in labor and delivery for almost her whole career, like 30 years. She's been a nurse since the 90s, like 1990, I think, for exact. So I guess it's been, like 33 years. She's been the manager of labor and delivery as long as I've been there. I actually don't know. I've heard it's been probably 15 to 20 years that she's been the manager. And I just felt like her experience and know-how and her ability to approve my project was really important because there is some budget issues that have to be addressed. And so I needed somebody that could share their experience and know-how with me, that I could bring data to help actually make change. Because talking to my peers about it, yeah, that's great and all, but you need somebody higher up to stamp it. And that's why I chose my department manager. And my goals were to get everybody on board, educate everybody on the hormones, and also, I forgot to mention, we're going to be offering teas that are relaxing, like chamomile, lavender, things like that, to the moms so that they can have a more relaxing environment. I looked into our C-section rate at our hospital, and it's like right on the national average, like 28.6% is where we were in the last 4 years. And half of that were moms that were brand new moms with no complications. And so it's kind of frustrating to see those numbers when just maybe an environment change could help that. So my analysis, the environment that I am working on in my project is the labor and delivery unit in my critical access hospital. I'm hoping that we can get some good data over the next year of decreased C-section rates where we're at, and maybe we can make some of these changes in the bigger hospitals throughout my company. There were a lot of adjustments I had to make during this project. My mentor, love her to pieces, is really bad at staying on task. She kind of squirrels out a lot, which was a little surprising to me. We canceled my presentation like 4 times and moved it and kept moving it. First, I was supposed to do it in February. Then I was going to do it in early March. And then she moved me to the end of March. And it really stressed me out because I was like, I've got a deadline. So there was a lot of changes in the schedule. I did have to change my approach a little bit. I had to do a lot of shopping to find Intermountain cost-approved items and I had to actually work with a lot of departments to make this work. I had to talk to the kitchen to have them order the teas that would be available for the moms, and honey that would be available. Our kitchen closes at 7 p.m. and we're all locked out. So I had to work it out with the kitchen team, which was difficult trying to get a meeting with them because I work night shift. And so they're just really not there when I'm there. So that meeting changed a few times. I also had some issues with the cleaning staff finding materials that they could clean that would not harbor bacteria and could be bleach cleaned when necessary. And so that was an interesting hurdle I didn't foresee. But it was really nice to all come together and make those changes as a hospital, not just me saying, this is something I'm going to do now and you guys have to get on board. The issues that I experienced were actually measuring the growth and the change. Being able to, especially since I got pushed back to the end of March, it became very difficult to say, oh, this is my project, this is what we did, and now this is what people think. The feedback I got in the presentation was good. We barely implemented it. I was only able to present this Wednesday, like this past Wednesday. It's only been a few days. So I have, that's definitely an issue, is I can't get a comprehensive, like really good aftermath data. But so far, the feedback has been very positive on the 2 patients that we had. Getting supplies was a little difficult because I live rural, they weren't coming quickly, and then finding ones that were the proper materials. Finding twinkle lights that could be cleaned, that were waterproof, and didn't need expensive batteries was difficult. And I had to work with my mentor a lot on that. Staying on task with my mentor was really hard. That was one of my difficulties. I know you can't see it because my face is probably in the way, but my difficulty was staying on task and keeping in touch with my mentor. She works days, I work nights, because even though she's my department manager, I don't really see her a whole lot. We have to communicate through email and text mostly. And so that was really difficult, getting some feedback and staying on task, for sure. That was hard. My project was a total success according to my unit. My unit was really open and receptive, and my coworkers were really excited to try something new, and tons of feedback. We had 2 patients that absolutely loved it, and they both ended up vaginally delivering, but I'm not sure. I haven't had a chance to go in and find out if that was their first delivery or if it was like their 4th, and they've had no problems with vaginal deliveries in the past, or I haven't been able to collect any of that data quite yet because they're not my patients. I wasn't allowed to go in their chart for HIPAA reasons, but my manager said that in a few months she will help me go back and look at that stuff without violating HIPAA. As I mentioned earlier, working together with other departments was a really big feat for me that I was really proud of that we did. I've got cleaning staff on board ready to clean these things, these candles and these lights, and know that they're there and we have a home for them, so they're going to clean them and put them away, instead of just passing over it like, what is this rando thing in here, which they have done from time to time. I will say that my love for pet projects has been ignited. I had no idea that I loved pet projects in my unit, but now all I see is projects. They're everywhere. Ways to improve patient experience, patient safety, patient care, ways to avoid burnout as nurses, ways to organize ourselves better, ways to support each other, and be understanding of each other as peers, because this is a hard job. Being a nurse is a hard, hard job. This is my conclusion. I hope that my project will support moms and lead to positive birth memories. That's my overall goal, and I hope that my project will help influence lots of labor and delivery units and my peers if they leave to make change in this realm, to make this a more positive memory for these families. It's a big deal. It's important. Create a less stressful environment. Be patient. Be understanding. Listen to them. And be kind.